Ozzy, kamikaze. Listen. Yeah. I'm in the chest. Asthmatic. Spasmatic. It's automatic. If people don't understand, I'm on the attack. Got a bipolar brain. What's that mean? Yes, I'm insane. So yes, y'all. You can pile on and it don't matter. Nah. Cause I'm teaching classes to all your bitch asses. And you better think faster. Cause I'm your goddamn master. This is not a rap song. This is not a rap song. No. This is not a rap song. No. This is just a song to tell you how wrong you are. Nah.
Check one, check two. It better be working now. I reset everything. Better? Anybody hear me? Can you hear me now? All right, I can turn it up if it's quiet. That's not an issue. My apologies. I don't know what happened. Anyway, good afternoon. Thanks for joining me this afternoon. Now we're 7 minutes into the show and you haven't heard a word. Thanks for sticking around, but now we'll get to it. I did bring my glass of wine for communion this afternoon. So we have that. So we're going to do something a little different today, is what I was trying to get at as I was talking and you couldn't hear me, is one, I did shout out everybody in the chat and you didn't hear it. So everybody in the chat, I heard it, and if there's a God, he heard it. But normally on the Ozone, we find either funny clips from crazy shit Christians say, or just random things that are bad arguments from Christians. But this one we're going to go into kind of my personal story and why I left Christianity. And I do have a few clips to play and to kind of stay on par with what we normally do. But these clips are going to come from the churches that I grew up in. And I say churches plural, it was only two. We weren't necessarily the church hopping type of family, but you can see a little bit into that. I did find a few pictures from my ancient past to show you guys, and back in when I thought I was a preacher or something. So we'll get into that here in a second, but I do want to just take a moment and let everybody know at 6:15 p.m. and that's of the Eastern time. Pasta Mike will be premiering a brand new episode of his unique interview style of Atheist Pizza with Jim Benton from Meaning Forge. And I'm looking forward to it. I did get to see one little sneak peek, and that was of Jim like rubbing a whiskey glass all over his nose. And I don't know. It was weird. But you'll definitely want to watch that. Pasta Mike puts out great content, great interviews. So again, 6:15 p.m. Eastern time. And if you haven't, when you find folks there in the chat, we'll throw up Pasta's link for me. That'd be great. But Normalizing Atheism is the name of his channel. Go check him out, and that'll be fun. I'll be there. I know the rest of the gang will be there. But yeah, like I said, if you're in the chat, I shouted everybody out while you could not hear me before I had to reset everything. But a couple I see just jumped in. What's up, Jefferson? James is always tired. Ian. Travis, what's up? What's up? Travis, I'd say approaching 4 years, to answer your question. He asked how long. Yeah, it's not been long at all. All right. And then, yeah, and you guys couldn't hear me. So I will shout that out too. So, Will Stewart here, he had a debate with our friend Skylar Fiction last night. So it was a heated debate, but it was if you enjoyed just watching debates and hearing the different argumentations and styles, it was good. All right, guys, well, let's get into it. So first thing, I'll just start off. I won't spend a lot of time on childhood and things like that, because I want to get to the stretch where I really started to, I guess, doubt or become skeptical of, what I was taught, what was going on around me, that kind of thing. But I did grow up in a evangelical, charismatic evangelical, whatever you want to call it, household and church. And if you're familiar with what that is, then you know exactly what it is. If you're not, the most extreme versions of it are the ones that are every single service. And when I say every single one, they could have 3 services during the week. Or I remember one time we went, the church I grew up in, one of the first clips I'll show here in a minute, they had like a 10-week or a 12-week straight revival where we were at the church building every night and then on Sunday twice, every single day. I look back at it now and I was like, yeah, if that's not programming the old brain, I don't know what is. But yeah, my earliest memories as a young guy were either in church. My mom was the full-time music pastor. Was either in church, for a church service, or there was a church function or a rehearsal. Because my mom also oversaw the one point so praise and worship pastor, the mime and dance team, whatever the hell they were called. They had a women's outreach group that she oversaw, and there's something else I'm missing. But so her hands, her fingerprints were on a lot of things. So that's really, my brother and I, that's all we knew. The only thing outside that we knew were sports. We both played a lot of sports. So I pulled a couple pictures here just so you guys have more material to make fun of me with, because we all know Pasta and Nate and Samuel like to make fun. But why isn't it pulling up? Oh, how cute's that kid? Why are these guys so mean to that kid? He's so cute. So the earliest memories were, like I said, that and baseball, and even I'm a drummer, and I learned how to play drums from watching who is now my stepdad. I've known my stepdad now basically my entire life, as long as I can remember. And the way I learned how to play was just watching him and mimicking him sitting in the pew. I would sit on over, if you're facing the stage, to the right side of the stage, so I could watch his hands or watch his feet. And that's how I taught myself how to play drums. And the first time I got behind a drum kit, I could play at least a boom chuck beat, simply just from mimicking what he did. What's up, Pasta Mike? I just let everybody know about your premiere at 6:15. Homie, I told them all they better be there. So it was that. So if I wasn't there, like I said, playing ball, and there I am. I was 12 there. Oh yeah. But those are really the only 2 memories I have was church and or baseball and football. Played a lot of football, but I remember it started. Started in Sunday school, where you got taught that what we now know, when we're become skeptical and we start reading that book, the Bible. I would say with eyes wide open, where they take these stories that are now, I see them as atrocities and disgusting acts by anybody. Doesn't matter if it's a god or a human. They try to paint it with this really pretty paint, so even the story of Noah and the ark, it's God loved Noah and his family so much that he somehow taught Noah to build this big boat, and he and his family went on there, and we'll just fast forward through everything. Then there's dry ground and a rainbow, and God loves you, and they skip over all the disgusting parts, right? Even the Cain and Abel story. I remember them trying to make that attractive, or make that a good story to pitch to a young child. Sodom and Gomorrah, I remember, and now I look back at it and I'm like, oh my God, you guys really, you just, you either glaze straight over all the bad shit, and just left it all the way alone, or you twisted or manipulated it to where it wasn't that bad. It wasn't as bad as it sounds. But what's up, T Jump? So you grow up with this, well, God, God did it. And mom and dad and pastor and Sunday school teacher and youth pastor say that if God did it, then it must be okay, because his ways are higher than our ways, and he works in mysterious ways. And as long as we just have faith and we trust that this God is who he says he is, then he'll take care of you. You don't have to worry about it. And it almost teaches, no, it is. It teaches in my opinion, now I'm speaking for me, well, Pastor Mike and I were talking about this, I think 2 weeks ago. It's almost a willful ignorance that you will willfully be ignorant to the atrocities that are in there. And I was taught to do that. Now, whether that was intentional or not, I'm not going to say that my mom or dad or anybody that was ever a teacher in one of those classes did that intentionally, but that is by, almost by default what happens, because it's, well, have faith and just hope and believe without justification for it. So, like I said, I didn't want to spend a bunch of time on my childhood, but I think it's important to know the root, or I guess the foundation of where my beliefs started and how they started. So through, I would say up till about 13, I did the church thing, and I went, and I know Christians love it when I say that, because they're like, oh, you just did the church thing, you weren't really a Christian. Yeah, back then I was a kid, whatever. At about 13 is when I started to hit my rebellious stage that lasted much longer, I think, than I probably should have. But 13 started, I think the first couple of things I did, started smoking cigarettes and started smoking weed. And I'll get to the rest here in a minute, but it was about a year later, I want to say a year and a half, is when my parents finally divorced. And I just went, I went ape shit. I went ham after that. I was going to do and try and be anything and everything that, my parents and any authority figure told me not to at that point. And a lot of that, without getting into it, had to do with the trauma, some of the abuses and things that either that I witnessed or were done to me, and so I went ham, and that went from 14, 15 years old till I was 22, which was one of the big pivots that I'll get to here in a second. But when in that 10-year, 11-year span, whatever, that I was ripping and running and doing whatever the fuck I wanted to do whenever I wanted, I struggled, man, with an addiction issue and just a lot of bitterness, a lot of hate, not for God, had nothing to do with God. It was some people in my life, and I just become very callous and very careless and reckless with even with my own health, my own life, and that in 2000 and I want to say 2002, 2003, something like that. I was in a car accident. When I say car accident, I got T-boned going about 70 miles an hour by a dump truck, and it essentially crushed the left side of my body, but it broke all the ribs on the left side of my body, collapsed my lung, shattered my shoulder blade. If you were to see the x-ray that, it looks like literally somebody took a pane of glass and just dropped it, which, if I remember right, the doctor said it's like the second or third most difficult bone to break in your body. So I did a number on that. Well, the dump truck did. The specialist for the first few days I was in there thought I had brain damage. I and many others would argue that's probably accurate. But then they had to resuscitate me twice. And the reason I share all the details is because you talk about a physically and a psychologically traumatic event. Of course, my family, friends, I'm in ICU. I got, all these cords and hoses and patches and pads and, everywhere. And their initial reaction, because they have a deeply held belief, is, that God saved me, that God had his hand on my life. And the only reason I'm still here and still alive is because it was the hand of God and the will of God that I still be here. And, at 22, I was something like that. I had no idea where else to run. I had no idea what to think, what to do. And they're all telling me this, and I'm still, young and dumb. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. It was probably God. And I am very proud to say this, that since that accident, I haven't touched any any drug. Nothing like I'm actually terrified of it now. So I want to go out. So I'm proud of that. But and when I dove into faith, and this is where I can say I don't care what anybody said. This is when I dove in and gave my life to God and was thankful that I was still here. And anyone that knows me and the way my brain operates, when I go after something, there's no stopping me. Only I can fuck it up. You're not going to stop me. Nothing's going to stop me. And I got into that mode with my faith. And I remember every single night I'd be up till 2 or 3 in the morning studying and reading. Any opportunity I had to be at the church to help and to do something, I was there. I started taking just Jeff and pasta. We had fun with it. I did for a few episodes. I had a couple of the certificates behind me from some of the Bible classes that I took. But I was doing as much as I could with being a high school dropout and no money at that point. And I dove all the way in. If there's another any other way to be a better Christian, I wanted to know what that was like and how I could do that. And I just ran. I didn't ask questions. I didn't doubt. I didn't ask for reasons why I should or shouldn't believe. I just went. I just went and I ran. Then it was about like I was saying at the top of the show, about fair. If I'm being fair to myself, really about 5 years ago, I had the internal mental kind of crack in the wall, if I can use that analogy. I always try to stick to that one analogy, but there was little cracks starting to kind of expose themselves in my wall of faith or wall of belief. However you want to describe that. But as I kept listening, I kept watching. I kept listening, I kept watching, and then I started to take some of the things that I was taught and some of the things that I heard preached, and then overlay those things on top of what I've seen, what I've heard, and what I'd felt so far in our reality. That was another crack in the wall For example, the Bible talks about, if two or three or more, agree in my name, the former Christians and Christians, which one, it's on the tip of my tongue. I can't get the exact wording out, but where two or three are gathered in his midst, there he is, and, any of these things you ask in my name, they will be given to you, and so on and so forth. I would say there's been probably hundreds of thousands of prayers that have been, prayed, sent up to whoever's up there for my mom. And my mom, for as long as I can really remember now, has had health issue or multiple, but the one that's most prominent and the one that is the most debilitating for her is it's a very rare condition in your ear. It's called Meniere's disease. If you've never heard of it, just a brief description. It's fluid buildup behind your ear, and it causes nausea, vertigo, and she describes it as she could go days where her ears, like in her head, it just sounds like her head is in the ocean and waves are just crashing down. So you can imagine what that's like, dealing with that every single day, but or possibly because it has a it doesn't announce itself when it's coming. She could be perfectly fine one day, and then at 4:22 it hits. So the reason I share that is, so the Bible's specific on how to pray. The state of your heart, the state of your mind as you pray for these things, and then it also says that you shall lay hands on the sick and they shall recover. And I'm looking at that, and I'm like, well, hold up, man. I've been doing this, at that point, going after God and faith, everything for 10 years or whatever it was. Why is my mom still, like, why is she still in all this hot mess? Why is she still in this hot mess? Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make any fucking sense to me. So, there, like I said, it was, part of it was I started to overlay one on the other. And then when I heard, I want to say one more thing before I say that. So, the other thing was personally my mental health. I went until I officially walked away from church, so what do we want to say, 30, just to keep a round number, 35 years of my life, where I was told we just have to believe. We just have to have faith. Or some churches that I would go and visit, it was, I may have a devil, I may be possessed. Do you know what that does? Do you know what that does to somebody? For those of you that have been there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Do you know what that does to somebody that actually has mental health diagnosis, or they have an illness? Maybe it's not diagnosed yet because they have, I went undiagnosed for, with most of my stuff for 35 years. That in itself is disgusting. That's reckless. It's careless. And for the leaders of churches, if you're not addressing this with your people, I'll just tell you right now, you're negligent. And you're doing more harm to your folks than you're ever helping them. Ever. So to what I was going to say a minute ago is when it comes down to just having faith and praying and trusting, eventually, even the book says hope deferred makes the heart sick. Eventually, when you keep telling people to hope, you keep telling people to have faith. I'm only human. I can only have so much hope and so much faith before I start asking questions. I'm not just going to aimlessly hope and pray and have faith and waste my entire life hoping, wishing, and praying. And if one more person would have told me, just trust God, He has a plan, you just don't understand it, I may have got a trip to the county jail because I might have punched him in the mouth. I was so sick of hearing that. But yeah, that's what started. Those couple of things what started to internally. I was not really telling anybody about my questions or my doubts yet because I didn't even know what they were. Because even when I was out ripping and running the streets, it wasn't an issue of God at all. I just wanted to do whatever the fuck I wanted to do. I was young and rebellious. Yeah, so those are the initial, like I said, cracks that started to compromise that wall of faith and belief. And then as I started to kind of pull back intentionally from some of the things I was doing in the church to kind of give myself some headspace, I started to observe more. Because one of those things like, I can see the forest from the trees. I felt like that's very much where I'd put myself, where I was in that echo chamber. Whereas I couldn't question because I didn't know how to question. I didn't even know what questions to start with. I didn't know what to ask. And I remember this part I've shared several times, but you fast forward probably another year or so later, and there just so happened to be a Sunday that I didn't have to play drums, worry about youth group stuff, worry about small group stuff. Because at that point, I oversaw small groups. I was the full-time drummer and helped with the youth group. And then one of the pictures, well, here, while I'm talking, I'll pull it up here. Actually, both of them have to do with that, the ones in the show. So this, if it'll pop up here. That's when I was big boy right there. But that's when I was overseeing the small groups, and the gentleman to the right there is my little brother. Shout out to Pastor Kyle. And then now you're going to see me. This is at my biggest. I was like 300 something pounds here. But this is when one of the times they would have me come out, and anytime they did any type of inner city outreaches, I think is what we call them. They would ask me to come out and speak, and obviously I would jump all over that anytime I was offered to do that. And here's one more cute one, last one. Look at Oz with the bowl cut, so cute. No. But yeah. So anyway, one of the Sundays that I didn't have to worry about any of that. When I played the drums, all I had to do was worry about I didn't have to worry about the distractions, because playing drums, all I had to do was worry about the twos and fours, staying on beat, keep everyone on beat. That's my job. I didn't really pay attention to the lyrics. I know that sounds like it's a terrible thing, but when you're a drummer, you're not. For me anyway, maybe that's my ADHD brain. I was not listening to the lyrics. I was listening to the music. I needed to hear, not just the beat, but where are my fills? Where am I crashing? When am I dropping out? Where am I building? I'm worried about all that. And that Sunday, I didn't have to worry about any of that. And the song, and I wish I could remember what song it is, but my fucking memory, that particular Sunday, I started listening to the lyrics, and I'm listening to the song, and I'm like, number one, this sounds really creepy. Number two, what the fuck are we talking about? Like, what in the fuck are we talking about right now? So that happened. Then we do the normal, music's over, shake somebody's hand, yada, yada, yada. And the pastor, which was my brother, he had shared a couple verses. And I remember when he shared them, and I don't, for the record, I don't think he was doing anything intentionally. I think it just, the two scriptures stuck out to me because of what I had read and studied in my own time. And I was like, well, hold on, but I remember, it just got me thinking. I was like, but I remember over here, though, it says this. And then he shared another scripture. And so I'm not saying that he was contradicting himself with the two scriptures. I'm just saying the scriptures that he used, scriptures were coming to my mind that contradicted them separately. And I'm like, hold on a minute. And then it was like this, boom, light bulb. And I remember it in my brain, in my head, my little pea brain. I was like, I have never read this book without the lenses, without the guidance, without the perspective or influence of mom, pastor, youth pastor, brother, favorite pastor. And at first I felt disappointed in myself because I'm like, here, you and your pea brain thinks you're at least decently intelligent. But you haven't even thought to read this damn book by yourself, and that's when it went from, thanks, Ian, appreciate it. That's when it went from the wall kind of getting cracked to where now you're seeing it start to crumble. So it wasn't falling down yet, but it's starting to crumble. Then I went home and I got a Bible that didn't have all my highlights and my notes and all that, from my other studying. And I just started reading, and I tried my fucking hardest to read it as if I'd never read that book before. Now, obviously with the level of programming, indoctrination, and I would even say poisoning from certain aspects. It was tough. It was very difficult. But I did it. And sometimes I'd make myself go back. And I remember I barely got out of Genesis, and now as atheists, this is the part the ones that have had to deconstruct and deconvert. This is where we do have laughs together because yes, I believed that a snake talked. I did. Yes, I believe that God flooded the entire earth. I did. Yes. And keep it, that we had incest 2 or 3 times to populate the planet. Yes, I believe that God said that was rational and justified and okay. Side note, guess what they don't teach you at church or in youth group or Sunday school? They don't teach you about Bible slavery. They don't do that. They don't fucking teach you that shit. Yeah, I remember that that happening, and then at the that whole part of my 2 years of my life were a complete whirlwind's not even the fucking word for it. It was it was a hurricane, typhoon, whatever you want to call it. And, now, back in the day, I would have said, thank God. But I can tell you that through that, I'm grateful for two things. One is through my life, I had to learn how to be, what's the word I want? To be persistent, and to just to never quit, and to keep going and be, like I said, persistent and grind and grind and grind. And I'm first grateful for that. And then at that time, so I'm walking away from faith. So I'm breaking up with God, breaking up with faith. And then my now ex-wife was leaving me, or had left me, and took everything. So it's like I had two breakups going on at once. And then I never thought I would be the one to, if a relationship ever ended, to jump right into another relationship or try to start another relationship. But I'm glad that I was wrong, because between my tenacity and meeting the unbelievable, amazing, beautiful, strong, humble Mrs. Oz, I am now a better version of myself than I ever was then. And I can say that I didn't need a God to do it. I didn't need faith to do it. I didn't need a religion to do it. I just needed a clear head. I needed to know who I was. And I never got to know who I was until I walked away from religion. I was given this identity that, first of all, in our community, as far as sphere of influence, friends and family, first and foremost, I was I won't say her name live, but I was my mom's son. My mom was, her name was very popular, and she did 2 Christian contemporary albums, and so first I was her son. Then as we got older, and everybody told me, well, you're going to be, one person told me I was going to be an apostle, and another person told me I was going to be a Christian rapper and travel all over the globe. And somebody else told me that I was going to, I can't remember what the other one was, missionary or something like that. And, so I always had all these identities that were just thrown on me, and what I was supposed to be, and had all these expectations to live up to. And I never felt like, none of it ever fit me. It didn't feel right. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do or try to fit in this thing that you're trying to fit me into. And I'm so glad I didn't. I'm so glad I didn't do that. And I love who I am today. And that's not to be, I know you guys know what I'm saying, but that's not to be arrogant or prideful or anything like that. But I love this version of me way better than anything that I did before. And part of that is because of decisions that I've made, for myself, but also now the people that I've allowed into my life. And I say that very intentionally, because I'm huge on who you do and do not allow into your life, because you don't have to allow everybody. So when I think about my wife, yes, absolutely. But then I look at the friends that I have now, and Pasta Mike is the one, that helped me the most, as far as having a dude, my guy, my brother, my boy that I could call, whether it was just to talk shit and have fun, or there was times that, Pasta will tell you that he talked to me for, a couple hours on the phone, and I was in tears, because I was a broken human being, and was trying to heal and mend and find out who the fuck am I now? Like, what the fuck do I do? And it's awesome now to be on the other side of that and be past the angry atheist stage, be past the bitterness stage, be past the questioning, my own identity, my own worth. It's so beautiful to be on the other side of that now. And, I'm so grateful for those people. And now on a bigger, bigger stage, I guess you could say, now all the awesome motherfuckers that I've met, even through COVID, just in the atheist YouTube community, I won't go down, name them all. I don't have time, but I've met so many just cool motherfuckers that I would have never met before, and I can't say it enough, and if I forgot anybody, remember I'm ADHD. Hands up, guns down. But no, it was an interesting process, and I think I'm comfortable stopping there. I guess the biggest thing I would say to wrap that up, and we'll get in a couple of videos, like I said, so you can see a little bit of not me personally, but the churches I grew up in, and we can have a little fun. But if you are someone that first of all, it's okay to doubt. It's okay to question. They will teach you not to ask questions. They will teach you that it's not okay to doubt. It's not okay to question. You have to have faith, even if it's the size of a mustard seed. Don't doubt. Don't question. I'm going to tell you right now, when someone tells you to not doubt or to not question, you better start doubting and start questioning right fucking now. So do that. If you feel like you're becoming skeptical and skepticism is creeping in, first of all, good for you. And I'm not saying this to try to deconvert anybody, but like take your belief, whatever it is, and burn that shit down. Burn it down. And after you burn it down and you question it and you analyze it, if you can build it back up and justify it and still stand on it, I'm not gonna say another fucking word to you. Do you, boo? But until then, you owe it to yourself, not me. You owe it to yourself to break that shit down, burn it down, and start over, and to see if you can still build it and find a good justified reason to stand on it. And I think everybody should do that. I think everybody should do it. Let's what I will say is we're gonna watch a few videos, and then you guys put it in the chat if you want to. If there is anybody that has any questions on deconstruction, deconversion, if you want to talk about good books or good atheist content, anything like that, or maybe you have a friend that you're talking to, I'm actually going to, I'll plug my phone in here at the end, and I'll give you a number, and we can talk on air here and hang out with everybody for a little bit. So, but before then, I will play. Hold on, when I reset everything, of course, my video went away. All right. All right, so let's do this. Sorry, guys, I had all this set up before. So this is Family Worship Center in Indiana. And this is the church that I grew up in, like as a little dude. This is where, for the first, 15 years, I want to say, that my mom was a music pastor here. Now, this video, you're not going to see my mom. This was done, I want to say it was like 9 years ago, something like that. But But you'll see that this is the church. If you've watched other OZone videos that I talk about the church, where like Rod Parsley and all them radical, crazy, some of them bitches came, Lester Summeralls, all them. This is the church that I was talking about.
Good morning. Welcome to the house of the Lord. Come on, let's stand up and bless his name today. Thank you, Lord. There's nothing that you can't do. Just one word. You promise one answer.
All right, so I just have to stop real quick. And if anybody else hears this and you don't like what I got to say, I don't give a shit. I will give my mom credit. My mom is a brilliant musician and vocalist. And when I heard this, I was like, y'all are trash. When my mom was the leader there, that band, the vocals, they may have been singing about some bullshit, but they could sing and play. All right, so I'll fast forward to...
The future is secure and the Lord is with us this morning. So before we go to God's word today, I want you to put your hands together and give God the best shout of praise you've got. Come on, let's bless the Lord today.
So I guess the longer that you clap, the more you bless him. Is that how this works? The longer you go, the longer. Is it longer, harder, faster? That's what she said. I'm trying. Yeah. So what I'm going to try to do here is get to the if I can. Get to the end here, the good, the juicy shit, the altar call.
Maybe if we'd celebrate what God has already done, more people would have faith to call and pray and ask and believe. It's not your kingdom. And what I see is not your will. But I'm not going to complain about it and whine about it. And I'm not going to rant and rave and condemn others because of it. What I'm going to do is stand in the midst of the darkness and say the church is the salt of the earth and the light of the world. Kingdom come. God's will be done. I'm going to pray your will today. And I pray that God gives birth in your heart, in your understanding, in your mentality, and desire to talk to God more often. I want to thank you for viewing today. If you'd like to help us reach in a...
Yeah, enough of that. Yeah, I'm actually surprised that he's still preaching. He's had, at this point, I mean, like I was little and he was pastoring there. He's probably had to preach the same message 24 times. I don't understand. Sorry, the pause is I'm pulling this next video up. So this one. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Okay, so this is also from Family Worship Center. Now this was the associate pastor here.
If you're in the service today and you say, that's me, I came today and I'm out of answers. I came today and my heart's broken. My life's upside down. I don't know what to do. I thought it couldn't get any worse, but here it is. It's worse. I'm that person. Pray for me. If that's you, lift your hand up real high. I want to pray for you. God bless you. There's one. There's two. God bless you.
Is this an auction?
There's four. There's five.
Is this an auction?
There's seven. There's eight.
What are we doing?
There's nine. There's nine. God bless you.
9 what? so confused. So confused. All right, this is the last one. Last video. Come on, StreamYard, work with me. Oh, here we go. Here we go. So this is the church that I went to after my wreck, and where I got all kinds drunk on the Jesus juice. I was fucked up.
We bless you, Waymaker. Waymaker, we bless you. Miracle worker, we bless you. Promise keeper, we bless you. You make a way, you make a way, you make a way, you make a way, you make a way. You make a way, you make a way, you make a way, you make a way. Oh, we bless you, we magnify you. We adore you, we adore you, we adore you, Jesus. We call you the great I am. Oh, the all-sufficient one. The more than enough, the El Shaddai. We bless you.
Died from the water because it had been made. I've done this already on a transition a couple weeks ago. In Jesus' name, I declare that Jesus is my Lord and my Savior. Father, in the name of Jesus, God, we know the pandemic is fearful, but we embrace your promises.
The pandemic is
And I'm
fearful.
asking you, Father, in the name of Jesus, if there is one here that is uncertain, if there's one here that is not sure, if there's one here that used to be boiling for God but has become lukewarm, if there's one here
It's not in the Bible.
that has been around Christianity their whole life, but Christianity's never come into them, if there's one here, I'm asking you, Father, let today be the day of salvation and let now be the acceptable time. In the name of Jesus. I'm not going to embarrass anybody. I'm not going to have people still funny about the altar calls, but on the count of three, if you're here, you're not sure, you want to be sure, you want to make sure, you want to know that you know that you know. When the trumpet sounds, you go with him. When your last breath is on earth, your next breath will be a celestial breath in the place called heaven. If you want to be sure that you're sure, you want to know joy unspeakable and full of glory, eternal life begins when you receive Christ into your heart. On the count of three, I don't want you to hesitate. I don't want you to wait, but I want you to make sure that you're sure, that you're sure, that you're sure.
Make sure you're sure.
About the future. We've told you about the future. I don't want the trumpet to sound and people to be trapped in judgment. I want you to come. You can escape all these things that are going to come to pass and to stand before the Son of Man. On the count of three, I don't want you to hesitate. I don't want you to wait. If you want to make sure that you're sure that you're sure, I want you to lift up your hands on the count of three. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Lift it up. All right, I see those hands. I see that hand again. There you go. Is there anybody else? Anybody else? Make sure that you're sure. Let's pray together. I'm going to lead you in prayer. We're going to make sure that we're sure. Let's pray together. Heavenly Father.
See, drummer fucked up. He wasn't paying attention. You hear that? See? Goddamn drummers. So when I look back now, what I hate about that is, one, I took a course that that pastor taught. Well, he built a curriculum for it and everything. It was called Gospel and the Preacher. And now he went way overboard on that than what he taught us. But it's a Well, number one, obviously there's a fear tactic that he did not use on that particular one, but one that he teaches that you use an analogy like now, if you get in your car today and you're on your way home and something terrible happens and you get in a car crash and you die, do you know where you're going? Are you going to go to heaven forever and spend eternity with God? Or are you going to go to hell and be separated from God for eternity? And then you do the make sure that you're sure. And it's it's so fucked up, man. It's complete fear manipulation. And one of the things that, that's not why I don't believe in God or why I don't go to, well, it is why I don't go to church, but it's not why I don't believe in God. But it's one of those things when I look back at it now, it's like, God damn, how did I not see that shit for what it was? But again, that's what programming and indoctrination does. You actually believe that it's okay to tell somebody that. Like, if you don't do this, you're fucked, Yeah, it's terrible. It's fucking terrible. Here, I'll put that phone number up here for a momento. If anybody wants to call, we can talk about, and I haven't even looked, but I'm just telling you right now, Otangelo or any of you knuckleheads, call. I'm not doing arguments for God today. We're talking about deconstruction and deconversion, and that's it. So give me 1 second. I'm getting the number here. I don't know why I just started humming the Hulk Hogan theme music, but what else? Oh, I didn't want it scrolling. There you go. There you go. But oh, cool. There's little brother. Little brother. Thanks for listening. Yeah, so if you want to, we got our first call.
Call from
the Pasta Man.
to accept.
Is this Pasta Mike?
This is the Pasta Man. What's up, man?
Oh man, I'm hanging out with all the YouTube peeps. How are you?
Well, I'm good, man. I'm watching you here with my buddy Leo. You know Leo.
Oh, little Leo, yeah.
Yeah, little Leo. Well, look, your brother Kyle's in the chat, so big shout out to Kyle Mills, one of the good guys. But I did want to say, a few moments back, you were giving your mom credit for being a good musician. I mean, who cares that your mom's a good musician? What does that have to do with her loving you as an equal son as she would Kyle? Just because you don't have a belief in a spirit or a supernatural premise doesn't make you any different of a son than Kyle to her. So I don't give two flying shits that she's a good musician.
Yeah, and I understand. Well, you and I have spoken. I understand your point, and mine was more. That point was more taking a dig at that current team, whoever those people were. But yeah, whether it's my situation or whoever, people in a family, whether it's believers, non-believers, disbelievers, atheists, skeptics, whatever they want to call themselves, we would hope in 2021 that everything could be treated equally and fairly. But sometimes, as we know, that the deeply held belief can make it foggy, or make it difficult for those people or that person to see that they're even doing it.
Sure. You know, I'd much prefer to see a poorly put together church that doesn't have good musicians send out a genuine message, because we do know there are good Christians out there and good religious people. Just because they hold to a belief that we don't believe in doesn't mean they can't be good people. It's all to do with how genuine they are. Because my mother was, or is, a believer, and she wouldn't treat me the way your mother treats you. So I don't give two shits that she's a good musician. That's my point.
And when it comes to that treatment and what's the word I was looking for? Yeah, well, I'll keep it treatment.
I'm just fed up of hearing you be upset over the things your mother, or the lack of empathy that she shows you, and it's just odd to hear you give her credit at all. So I just want you to dial it back in, bro. You're doing an amazing thing. What you do for TART is phenomenal. Keep doing what you do, and I'll speak for the audience. We love you, bro.
No, I love you. I love all of our peoples.
Yeah, man. Devil horns, man.
Appreciate you.
See me. Much love, dog.
Love you, brother. Yep. And like I said, when before Pasta called in, when I was going through the deconstruction process, you know, Pasta was the one that, you know, he got the really fucked up Oz calling him, you know, in tears, and there were some, and still have been some intense and fucked up moments, you know, and it is what it is. So he, you know, he's like a, you know, Mike's like a big brother to me, you know, so he's always protective, and that's why, you know, I love him, love our friendship. I think it's great to have that. Let's see who else in the chitty chat. But the line's open there if anybody wants to call. Like I said, the sorry, I got like a gnat or something. The line's open. I prefer to stay on topic: deconstruction, deconversion, you know, anything like that along those lines.
Call from.
Sammy, do nothing.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
This is Oz.
Hey, Oz.
Yo.
You hear me all right?
Yep, I can hear you.
All right. Because I'm driving around. I was listening to you while we were driving around and stuff. So just wanted to call you and tell you, I guess remind you, that, you know, TART was the first show I ever saw on YouTube, and you guys are what got me into accepting my doubts and all that, you know. And, well, I also want to tell you that, you know, after you got in an accident and then you went further into the church and left all that behind. Isn't that right?
Yep.
Yeah, so around the same time, me and you are like 2 years apart. I think you're 2 years older than me. But around the same time, my cousin had overdosed. Am I on the air right now?
Yep.
Okay, anyway, my cousin had overdosed because we were doing the same thing you were doing, and that kind of opened my eyes. And they were trying to get me to do the same thing, they say, and I should be a youth leader because I've been through all that stuff, and I sold drugs and did all this crazy stuff, and I could have gone down the same path you did, but I chose not to go into that. So I don't know, I just really felt everything you were saying. It was almost like you were describing my life if I had gone 100% into it like you did. So, but anyways, I can relate a lot with you
especially with the relationship with your mom. And thanks for doing what you're doing, and I appreciate it.
Well, first of all, thanks for calling. And yes, until like dementia or something sets in, I'll never forget the first time you told me about that. The TART was the first, atheist or skeptic channel that you found and made an impact or made a difference. So that's something will always stay with me. And I think it's always awesome for all of us to know that we have connections and share stories with people, because that's number one. That's what helps build community. So we do have people that we can talk to, people we can relate to. But then furthermore, it helps us to normalize atheism and show that we can have community, we can be healthy, and we can disagree, but still and not need the God or religious organization tools to do that. So,
yep, most definitely.
Cool. Well, thanks for.
All right, that's it.
Yeah, I was gonna say thanks for calling, brother, and you be safe.
Yep, appreciate you too.
I mean, yeah, Samuel. He was a guest early on when we first started going live here on the YouTubes, and if I remember correctly, now I'm gonna have to go back and watch that episode. Well, Pasta has his memory is like a steel trap, so he'll probably remember. But I believe when he came on the first time, he was at a place of, I think he was agnostic leaning to theism, if I remember right. And if Doodle, if you're in the chat, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But Lancer, yes, what's up? Long time no see, and appreciate the compliment. We're doing the best we can, man. Just a few knuckleheads trying to have fun and normalize atheism. All right, we'll give everybody a couple more minutes here before we sign off. And God damn, that's loud.
Call from
Alec.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
This is Oz. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, buddy, you're speaking to Alec.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, man, I just want to call in. I have some, I don't know if you could give some advice for like a deconversion situation I'm going through.
Okay.
So like the biggest thing in my, leaving Christianity from, being a lifelong Christian is just dealing with the family situation. Is that something you're comfortable talking about?
Yeah, absolutely.
So like everybody around me is pretty much just diehard, like right-wing Christian. And I haven't really came out to anybody aside from my wife, who kind of shares the same views as me. But I feel like it's getting to the point to where I may need to reveal that side of myself to my family, just because I have like a kid now, and my parents are trying to teach her like all sorts of Christian stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, where I would start is how far along are you in your deconversion process?
Pretty much at the end, I would say. Like it's been probably about 2 years since I left religion, I would say. And the past year has just been kind of like ironing out all the, questions and things I have wanted to know about. And just kind of calling myself an atheist, like nailing it in, I would say.
Yeah, well, I think the first question that I would ask is, are you, because I don't like labels. If it wasn't for
right
theists, having all the labels, we wouldn't have to have the label, but because it is what it is. If you've made up your mind, if you've went through and you've asked all the questions and did the research that you feel is justified for you to land on a place of lacking a belief or now having an absence of belief, if your entire, family or sphere of influence are a majority right-wing Christian, whatever, that's very much what my situation was. I'm of the school of thought where you don't need to make it a big deal, because then you're asking for more friction than you need. I would just simply, next time something comes up whether it's kids or something, to you on an individual basis, like, hey mom, or hey dad, or if it's the both of them, this is where I'm at now. I don't hold that belief anymore. And I would just appreciate it. I'd respect if we don't, do this, or we don't talk about that, or whatever, and make it, keep it calm, keep it cool. Because last thing you want for you, and or your wife, kids, is to add any pressure or stress or anything to you guys.
Right. Yeah, I understand that. My whole fear is with my family. The way they view kind of like anything outside of their belief system, especially being an atheist, is like the worst thing you could be on the planet, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So I fear even telling them that it would be kind of like getting shunned away from them, them thinking I'm some sort of horrible person, which I realize is not my fault. It's their skewed view they have of that. So like I'm trying to decide if I should even go to the trouble of mentioning it to them. But my worry is just my daughter. I don't want her to, be indoctrinated by her grandparents, right, and then have to deal with that later in life.
Right. And I will, I'll tell you, I can't, being a true skeptic, I can never guarantee anything, but I will tell you, there's a very high probability that you are either going to lose friendships or lose relationships with family members. Once more of those folks start to find out about it, and that's just something that you have to know, that's just going to come. That's part of the bag, right? That's part of the bag. And I always share. My brother was in the side chat a little bit ago. Other than my family, my brother and my mom and dad, there's there may have been one, so I'll say one, but other than that, there's nobody. As I shared earlier, it was like what, 8, 9, 10 years, whatever it was, that I was in that church every single Sunday, every single week, and not one of them have ever taken the time to text, call, anything. So you just have to know going into it and prepare yourself that you're going to find out there's some people that you thought like y'all were really cool, and it was either a relationship of convenience or whatever the purpose or agenda they had, and that friendship is now gone.
Yeah, I totally get that. Well, I appreciate the advice, man. Have a good show, and I appreciate you talking to me.
Cool. Thanks for calling, man. Call anytime.
Thanks.
Thanks for calling, Alan. Appreciate that. And then there it is. I just saw bacon, and I was like, this has got to be a great comment. And it was actually a question. It's the bacon gods. Oz, I'm not sure if you're going to be on much longer. Do you think that it's wrong for a person, to come to the position they have no reason to care if, yeah, I mean, personally, I'd love to hear somebody else answer that, but I'm here by myself right now. I personally don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, who cares? Because if it wasn't for the fact that I was indoctrinated into it, and I was lost in it, I probably wouldn't care. But I do care because I now know what it's done and where I'm at now, and the way I feel and the way I've felt through certain stages of my life. So I do care now. I hope that makes sense. But Yes, Lancer, thanks for calling in. Appreciate it. And we're calling off the hook here.
Call from
Kyle.
Uh-oh.
to accept, press 1.
Now let's see if you guys can tell who's talking.
Oh man.
Everybody, this is my little brother Kyle, Pastor Kyle.
What's up?
I feel like
What's up, bro?
I want to play an organ. I don't have an organ sound effect.
Oh man, next time maybe. Oh man. Hey,
What's up, brother?
hey, just wanted to come on here first. I'll tell you in front of the whole world, I love you. And you're awesome. You're my brother, and I'm thankful for you. And I want to just say too, the perception is a harsh reality for sure when it comes to Christians sometimes. And I want to echo something that I heard you say earlier, because you're right, and something that you said earlier, and I wanted to kind of voice my opinion on this, and that is, a lot of churches shun away, the thought of questioning or doubting, and it's true. It's true. As a pastor of a church, I don't think that is talked about enough and permitted enough. I'm on the other side of that spectrum as a pastor. Austin, I know you know that about me, that, one of the things I communicate to people all the time is it's okay to do that. It's okay to be a part of this church and not believe. It's okay to doubt and question. Man, heck, I question and doubt. I have my own moments and my own time. And so, I just wanted to say that, that is okay. And I think having appropriate conversation is important, and discussing and dialoguing, and and even to that Alec who just called, man, I just listened to you as well, and my heart goes out for you, because watching what my brother went through was not easy, but he and I are close. I love him and he loves me, and we our relationship, man, did it rock my world? Well, yeah, it did. It rocked my world, but it didn't change my love for him. And I think, man, when you really got family that is for you and really loves you for you, I don't think that should be changing. And for those family members that causes, separation with, I would highly question their love. I mean, just being real. And, my definition of love is it's action. And I'm taught that way. I believe that way, but I also try to live my life that way. And I think it's really easy to say I love you when things are sunny out, but can you love me and can I love you when we disagree on certain things? And so anyways, I just listened to his call, and I just thought that, I don't know, it just, kind of spoke to me too. And so anyways, I just wanted to jump on here. I didn't want to take a bunch of time with you, bro, but appreciate you. I love you.
We don't have to take the time. I'll give you time. You're my brother. But no, I'm glad you called in, because it's, I think it's great. And I think it's important to hear the theist, or hear the Christian's perspective when they hear, not just your brother, but others talking about the deconstruction and the deconversion process, and the, as I know, I know the previous callers going through the anxiety and the stress and the pressure, because a lot of people think that we do it just to be rebellious. Trust me, living in America, where 52% of America are theists, it's not an easy thing to come out and say, hey, I don't believe what everybody else believes. And it's not a comfortable decision, because that you're more than likely you're going to disappoint people, and more than likely it's going to hurt people, even though you never meant to do that. But you have to be true and intellectually honest with yourself, and do what you believe to be the best thing for you. And sometimes there's collateral damage, and it sucks, because there shouldn't be. We're talking about beliefs, and like you just said about our relationship, just because we don't see eye to eye never meant that we stopped loving each other. Never meant that we stopped caring about each other. and we've had, off of, just face to face, we've had conversations, and it's never got nasty or ugly or anything like that. And I think it's important that the Christians get to see and hear that. And I'm not speaking for you when I say this, but there are a lot of Christians still that they hear the word atheist and they tie that to devil worship, demon possession, God hating, just anarchists, and that's not who we are. That's not what we do. And we don't even want that. We don't want that label, but we have to, in order to separate from the theist culture and label.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I understand completely what you're saying. And, and I think that, my hope more than anything too, is that we have more intelligent, Christians. Not that I'm perfect, because I'm not, and I'm not maybe the best spokesman. I just try to live my life a little bit differently than what I've even seen and some of the things that you showed, and so, I think at the end of the day,
did that bring back some,
it's real.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Did it bring back some childhood memories for you?
Yeah, you better believe it did. And so thank you, Nate. I just saw Nate on that chat. Thank you for saying that too. So, yeah. So, and I think more than anything too is, we can get along. We can have peace. It's all available. And I realize that, it can be complicated for some, but I don't find it complicated just personally. And I just think, for you and I, in our relationship and what we've seen, but I know this happens with a lot of people, and that is the norm for most people, that it tears families apart, and it just shouldn't. And I'm very strong in that. And I just, whether somebody's an atheist, whether somebody just doesn't believe, period, they don't even have to, title or no title, whether they're whatever. I just, I think our approach is huge in things, and just how we love and respect people. And, so anyways, man.
Nope.
That's
good.
all I got.
Nope, you're good.
I just wanted to call then.
I think there's one or two other people trying to call, so I'll get to them. But
yeah.
I love you, brother. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome, bro. Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Peace. Real quick, before the next call comes, because somebody else was trying to call in there. Nate Dogg, thanks, $5. Kyle, wish your perspective could be the norm. Yeah, and I can say with 100% honesty and integrity, my brother, he handled it like a champ, and he's been a champ through all of it. And a couple of times we've even agreed on shit. So no, that's been good. Thank you, Ian. Another $5. $5. Now I feel like we need to do another. What do they call them? I about said audition. That's not what I wanted. Help me. It's gone. Dun, dun, dun. But no, that was cool. I like I told Kyle there, it's I think Christians need to be more exposed to the deconstruction, deconversion process, because it does auction. That's the word I was trying to remember. Anyway, squirrel, because they don't appreciate it, man. They don't appreciate and understand the anxiety and the pressure and the pain, and sometimes you unmask trauma, and you pull off old scabs that you thought were healed, and it's, yeah, man, it can wreck you. It can wreck you for sure. Comment is my first time here and hearing everything, but already you sound like a kind of theist I sincerely enjoy talking to, a genuinely kind and understanding person. He's a good man. Yeah, it don't take long. Cool. Well, we will start to wrap up here, folks. So one last time here, everybody in the chat, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I appreciate it. And I wanted to, on the OZone here, do an episode with my story and also have some fun with the videos and some of my childhood pictures and put those out there so that Pasta Mike and everybody else can make fun of me because they're assholes and they make fun of cute kids like that. See that? Remember that next time you try to make fun of me, Pasta. But no, it was it was fun. Well, it was good to talk about it. And I think even for me still, only being 3 years, whatever, it still helps me, and it still is therapeutic for me to talk about it and process through it, and then hopefully in that process, I'm able to help somebody else, or give somebody the peace to know that you can do this, and it may suck, it may hurt for a little bit, it probably will, but you can do it, and then come out the other side healthy, healthier, stronger, happier. I'm happier than I've ever been. One of the things that I did fail to mention earlier is not having to, I don't have to worry about that fishbowl or living in a glass house where everybody's watching and listening and paying attention to every fucking thing you do. And if you do or don't do something a certain way, somebody has something to say about it, and knowing that I don't have that I can just be me. And it really doesn't matter what anybody else's opinion is, man, that's a beautiful life. And it's a happy life. And it's a peaceful life. And I love that life. And I love, like I said earlier, and I will, now I'm going to sound like a pastor. I'll close with this. We have to get to a place in our lives where we love who we are. That we love that person every time we wake up, we get out of bed and we look in the mirror, that we love that person and we want to take care of that person and make sure that person's healthy, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. And when we can do that, then we can make an impact on the people around us, our sphere of influence, our family, our friends, or our YouTube community or whatever. But if you're not there, you're going to struggle to help other people find that happiness and find that love until you have that for you. And that is the one thing that you're not going to get from a religion. Well, not all religions, but specifically Christianity. And I'm speaking, obviously from my experience. You don't get to be happy with you. The Bible says so. The Bible tells you that you're filthy rags. You were born flawed. You're shit. You're shit. And you need someone to come and redeem you. You need something to come and make you better. You're not good enough on your own. And I call bullshit. Because I now know I don't need the religion. I don't need the God. I don't need any of that. I love me because I love who I am, because of the decisions I've made, the people I've put around me and allowed in my life. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. And that's what I want everybody to do. want all of you guys to do that. And I think the more people we get thinking that way and operating that way, the more amazing we'll be as human beings. And faith is bullshit. All right, you ready for my altar call? Now, I want to make sure that everybody is sure that you're sure that you're sure.
Hallelujah!
Are you sure today? Are you sure that if you go crack open that bag of ramen, that the little sketty noodle monsters aren't going to come and get you? You better be, because you know why? Hold on. Where'd it go? Oh, here's why. Faith is bullshit. So next time I do one of these, in my little mixer thing, I might have some worship music programmed in there. But just make sure that you're sure. Just make sure that you're sure. All right, guys. Well, thank you, everybody, for hanging out. IQ, Tighten Your Anus. I see. Oh, Randolph, we got the whole damn squad in here. All the G's. G'd up from the feet up. Killer Doggy, what up? Dutch June. Oh, thank you. I didn't see that earlier. I appreciate that. Will, I wasn't trying to make you cry, brother. I was not trying to make anybody cry. All right, guys. Well, I'll sign off, and before G'd up from the feet up, ever since I was a fetus, got bars. Charlie Woodchip got bars. And I was just getting ready to plug it. Look, holla at your boy. Normalizing Atheism, 6:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Pasta Mike and Jim from Meaning Forge Podcast, episode 4 of The Atheist Pizza. Everybody get it? Get it? Got it? Leave it up there for... There we go. Cool. Thanks, guys. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. And yeah, go check out my boy, the Pasta Man, Pasta Mike at 6:15. Get in the chat, hang out, support him. If you haven't, go and subscribe to his damn channel. You're crazy if you haven't done that already. Crazy. You're missing out. All right, y'all. This has been the OZone. You've heard my crazy ass story. You saw the crazy ass churches that I went to. Now you can go have some laughs. Peace out.
Ozzy. Kamikaze. Listen. Yeah. I'm in the chest. Asthmatic. Spasmatic, it's automatic. If people don't understand, I'm on the attack. Got a bipolar brain. What's that mean? Yes, I'm insane. So yes, y'all. You can pile on and it don't matter. Nah, cause I'm teaching classes to all your bitch asses. And you better think faster, cause I'm your goddamn master. This is not a rap song. This is not a rap